quarterback.
Oh, there's a goal! Oh, at least I thought he was gonna until he blew it.
Hello and welcome to the July 2019 edition of Detroit Red Wings Monthly. So this edition is coming out a little bit earlier than normal because we already seen the Red Wings' last game of the month of January, because now we enter the All-Star break. And the next time the Red Wings play will be February 1st. Now, I do know that action does get back underway January 28th, but we're going to look at how the Red Wings are faring into the All-Star break. I may go down the comments section by the end to post an update, if anything's changed entering February. But yeah, enough of that. Let's just go right into the stuff, and let's see how the Red Wings did in the month of January. So Detroit in the month of January, they had a record of 4-6-0. Ironically, that is also their record in their last 10 games. And the Red Wings' 4 wins, it included the likes of Nashville, Minnesota, Anaheim, and Edmonton. Some quick notes. When Detroit beat Anaheim, that added to Anaheim's impressive losing streak. At the time, that streak was at 12 games. Anaheim would eventually snap the streak at 13 games about a week later. Man, I would have hated to be a Ducks fan during that stretch. And of course, we already seen the aftermath of the Red Wings win over Edmonton. As the result is that Edmonton has now fired GM Peter Chiarelli. Who could have saw this one coming? Peter Chiarelli is pretty much the only reason the Oilers are a complete and utter shitfest down in Canada. Like, Peter Chiarelli has all but ran Edmonton right into cap hell. Like, I think it was obvious when they overpaid the living shit out of Leon Draisaitl to an $8.5 million cap hit a year for 1 year of first-line production. But yeah, those are just some quick tidbits I think you should all know. In terms of overall, Red Wings right now stand at 19-25-7. They are 7th out of 8th in the Atlantic Division. The only team they're above in the division is Ottawa. They are also 5th outside a wild card. But in terms of how far out they are, Red Wings currently sit, entering the All-Star break, 13 points out of a wild card spot, which, if you could do a translation, that's around equivalent of 6.5 games. In terms of the top 3 in the Atlantic, Detroit is 18 points out of the top 3, which is 9 games behind Montreal. But here's one positive. The Red Wings will enter February on a 1-game winning streak. At least it was better than how they entered January, when they entered on a 5-game losing streak. So hey, I'll take that. In terms of overall throughout the month, Red Wings had 30 goals in the 10 games, averaging 3 goals a game. They had 32 goals against, averaging 3.2 goals a game. Like, throughout the month, Detroit, they played a lot of close competitive games. Like, I think Red Wings proved in January that they can hang with any top team in the league on any given night. Because throughout the month, the most they've lost by in a single game this month was 2 goals on a couple of occasions. At least 2 of those occasions were against Calgary, and there was 1 against Winnipeg. But yeah, they played some really close hockey. You know, they know how to hang in there, but you know, they just got to be able to execute and be more consistent and win. But overall, in terms of shots, the Red Wings were averaging around 32 shots a game. In terms of power play and special teams, the Red Wings power play was fucking atrocious in the month of January, converting at a success rate of 10%. 10%. That is not even close to good. Like, if we compare December to January, December was a hell of a lot better. December was 13.9%. In 1 month, they managed to lower the power play down by almost 4%. That power play has to get goddamn better. But it is a positive light. In terms of the penalty kill had a success rate of 76.7%. So around 77%, so it was up by 3%. So it actually improved. Face-off win percentage, it's about the same as last month, 50.8. No improvement there. Like, honestly, I think the Red Wings, they gotta improve on the face-off. They gotta win more face-offs. You know, create more opportunities to try and win games. But, you know, power play overall, gotta be a massive improvement here. I say, penalty kill, it's slowly improving, but I think there's a lot of work that has to be done there. But, yeah. In terms of the goalie stats, Jimmy Howard was getting a massive workload in the month of January. Out of the 10 games, Howard played 8 out of 10. Howard went 4-4. He had a goals against average of 2.88 and a save percentage of .902. Oh, did I mention, though? There's one positive in all of this, though. Jimmy Howard at least made the All-Star team. Hooray. Good job, Howard. It's great to see you back in form. But in terms of Jonathan Bernier, he only played 2 games. He lost both those games. And in both games, he allowed 3 goals in each. So the goals against average is 3.0. And he had a save percentage of .895. And I believe we still have him for another year because I think we signed him on a 2-year deal. Man, we need to get a better backup goalie. Bernier, he's just trash. He played a lot worse. He was a lot better in goddamn December than he was in January. But hey, at least Jimmy Howard made the All-Star team, so that gives Detroit fans a reason to watch the All-Star game now. See how he does. And of course, the next favorite section of all this, how did all the players that got points do? Let's start off. So first player we had is Andre Athanasiou, who had a really productive month of January, where he had 4 goals and 4 assists for a total of 8 points. Darren Helm, Detroit's leader on the injury reserve, actually was able to stay healthy for quite a bit. He got only 2 goals and 2 assists. He'll probably be back on the injury board in a few weeks. Just give it time. Jordan David-Rose, he was pretty quiet, only had 1 goal. Michael Rasmussen, same deal except it was 1 assist. Nick Jensen was also quiet with only 1 assist. Dylan Larkin also had a very productive January with 4 goals and 5 assists for 9 points. That is also tied for the team lead in the month of January. You'll find out who he shares that mark with in a little bit. Thomas Vanek had another decent productive month with 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points. Tyler Bertuzzi has showcased his true talent when he isn't getting suspended all the goddamn time. When he got 4 goals and 3 assists in the month of January for 7 points. Did I mention 3 of his 4 goals came in 1 game against Minnesota when he got a hat trick? Hey, Bertuzzi has talent. If he can just keep himself out of trouble, he could be a really good piece of the team. Philippe Hronek, it's Hronek, I just mispronounced it. He had a decently productive month in January with a goal and 5 assists. However, he is not going to be on the roster long because it was announced earlier today that Hronek is going back to Grand Rapids to the minors. Hey, at least he had some good production. Don't worry, Philippe. You'll be back in Detroit soon. Someday. Dennis Cholowski, he had a quiet month, only 1 goal and 1 assist. Gustav Nyquist has been a really solid producer this month. Only had 1 goal, but he had 8 assists for 9 points. So he shared the lead with Dylan Larkin in the month of January, for all you fantasy hockey lovers. Anthony Mantha had another decent month too. 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Luke Glendening had 3 goals and assists in January for 4 points. Nick Cronwell was pretty quiet. Only had 2 assists in the entire month. Franz Nielsen also was quiet with only 1 goal and 3 assists. Very disappointing month for Franz. Jonathan Ericsson only had 2 assists. Mike Green actually got some decent points when he came back. He missed like half the month, but he was come back for the second half. He had a goal and 2 assists. So yeah, maybe Mike Green, you can actually stay healthy for a goddamn while. Because I think Mike Green's already missed close to 20 games this year already with injuries. And finally, Danny DeKeyser only had 3 assists in the point this month. So yeah, those are all the players that got points in the month of January. So sadly, nobody got double-digit points. But then again, when you're playing a lot of close, low-scoring games, you gotta take advantage of any opportunity given to you. So yeah, there we go. That is how Detroit fares entering the month of February. And February is gonna be an interesting month, because Detroit's gotta play some really good teams in the month of February. Of course, starting off February 1st, they gotta play at home to Toronto. And then they got a couple divisional games against Ottawa. They also got a home-and-home series against Philadelphia. And then, of course, in this month, Detroit will have 2 meetings with an old friend. Chicago. The Shitoilet Shithawks. Hopefully, Detroit gets to stick it back to Judah Tribe once again. But yeah, that is all there is. And of course, February is going to be another month because we will also be inching closer toward the trade deadline. And of course, the question is, will Red Wings be buyers or sellers? Because if we look at where the Red Wings stand in the draft order right now, Detroit currently sixth in the draft order. But remember, in the NHL, the draft order is determined by a lottery for the top 3 positions. So just because the Red Wings are 6th right now doesn't mean they're gonna draft 6. They could draft 3rd, they could draft 9th. We're gonna have to wait and see how this goes. I imagine, though, the Red Wings are more than likely not gonna tank, because the term rebuilding does not exist in Ken Holland's dictionary. They'll probably just fight until they're mathematically eliminated. But in terms of what the Red Wings could do at the deadline, one name Detroit's rumored to be trading is Jimmy Howard. Because Jimmy has been rumored for a couple months that he's on the trade market and being trade bait to try and trade him to a playoff contending team or a team that needs a goalie right now. Because Jimmy Howard's having one of his best years in a long time. You know, and him making the All-Star team will more than likely up his trade market value. I believe last I heard the asking price was a first-round pick for Jimmy Howard. Gonna be tough to find anybody that's willing to give up a first-round pick. I did hear, though, that St. Louis is in the market to go for Howard. But St. Louis, though, they're around the same position as Detroit, so if this trade does happen, think of this, Detroit could have 2 first-round picks in this year, 2 top 10 picks in this year's draft. You know, if Detroit does end up with 2 first-round picks this year, I would say 1 pick we should focus on a need, and I say that need needs to be defensemen. Because we got enough goddamn forwards as it is, we need to start building that defense up better. And we also got a lot of goalies in the farm and development system. And then the other pick, if we end up with a 2nd pick, I say just use it to get the best player available. But yeah, we got a lot of time, though, to think about the draft and whatnot. You know, Red Wings, they play good hockey in January. They just got to turn a lot of those close games into wins. But, you know, they're going to keep fighting to the end, that's for sure. But yeah, I think I've gone on long enough on Detroit Red Wings Monthly. So yeah, that's going to do it for me here. I'll see all yous back here in February 2019. For the February edition, of course. But yeah, hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, peace out, bye.
Oh, there's a goal!